Hello and welcome to the 41st episode of Inherited Will, a One Piece podcast, a weekly podcast discussing each week's manga chapter and a reread of past chapters. My name is Thomas.
And I'm Jordan.
This week we'll be jumping on into chapter 1038, then later chapters 467 through 477.
Sucks for these two.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting, actually anything notable to come out of this cover chapter, and I'm still, this cover series in general, but I'm still not totally convinced anything will, but this is a fun development. Turns out Niji and Yonji got left behind.
This certainly has potential, huh?
Sure does. And after all that smack that Niji was talking about Sanji being too slow to escape, well.
Yeah.
Joke's on you, you blue-haired sap.
Oops, someone messed up.
Indeed.
Their name is Niji.
It is a little weird that they only have one pin in them. I don't see any reason why they can't just pull that pin out with their hands. But, I'm sure they got a good reason.
Yeah, I mean, is that Oven right there?
Yeah, that's Oven there on the left, and I think Pudding there on the right.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess Oven could just be a threat for them not to do that, right? But I feel like if they did it right, they might be able to take him in a 2-on-1.
Or at the very least, just get the heck out of there. They're wearing their raid suits, so they're presumably quite speedy.
That's true. Yeah, could just dip.
Oven's been known to be speed blitzed in the past, so...
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out more about why they're there. Maybe they are sacrificing themselves, or they have some other objective. Because they seem relatively calm. I mean, we can't really see their faces, but, Niji's kind of just there with his arms crossed.
Indeed. Certainly nonplussed about the situation.
Yeah.
I'm forced to conclude that our assumption that the other Vinsmotes were leaving last time, there's no way to sort of let them stew there forever, right? They gotta come back for him.
I mean, yes, I agree with you, but also, why are they leaving? Did they get hurt and need to recuperate? Are they getting... It's not like they can get reinforcements. They brought everyone, didn't they?
Indeed.
Yeah.
They are their own army.
Yeah. What? Why would they be leaving? Unless, like I said, some hidden objective, some trade where two have to stay so the others can go. I don't know. I also don't know who's in charge of the operation on Whole Cake Island right now. Who would have decided this?
If Katakuri is still unconscious, or if he got demoted or whatever after the whole Luffy debacle, I guess that would put probably Oven in charge. Smoothie and Daifuku are both, and Parasparrow are all on Wano. Cracker's probably still around somewhere, but he kind of sucks and also got beat up just as badly as Katakuri did.
Yeah, he kind of got stomped, huh?
Snack was a former Sweet Commander, so maybe that makes him a rank above the Ovens of it all, but he also got bumped.
Yeah. No one's looking good right now. But I don't know. We've talked about this for 5 minutes. I think it's time to move on.
It's important and notable, and I want to know what's going to happen.
I agree, but we only know so much now. There's a crane there. That's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty sick. Pleased by that. Anyway, into the chapter 1038, Kid and Law versus Big Mom. The most alarming chapter title I've heard in a long time.
Also one of the more alarming chapters. There's just so much that happens here.
Indeed. Starting off with Rizo and Earlobe Man.
The least exciting of the chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I think this moment with Rizo is cool, right? He's on fire, he's toughing it out.
For sure.
But did we really need an entire page to go from the last Rizo update, which was almost on fire, to this page, which is he's now on fire? Was that strictly necessary?
I mean, no, you're right. Like, it wasn't. But, like, I don't know. It's a page. I'm willing to give that to him. Just because, I don't know, it's like an homage to Odin, and I'm sure he's feeling a certain kind of way right now. And, I mean, like you said, it's a cool and good moment. Good job, Rizo. But, yeah, let's move on.
Quite so. Speaking of things that probably didn't need to be here, Jinbei catches the roof. The ceiling, rather.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm glad to see Jinbei again. It's been a little bit, but this is a thing.
If anyone's going to be able to put out flames efficiently, I guess it's him. So, good, but they're pretty bad, these flames.
Indeed. They're like everywhere, and this is a castle of considerable size.
In the sky.
Indeed. Not a whole lot of water to fetch when you are literally in the air. But
no.
I'm sure Jinbei's going to make himself useful. I mean, this is just a way to, like, make the Straw Hats, specifically Jinbei in this case, be doing something while the rest of the battles are going on. Which, you know, fair enough, but I just feel like the panel time could be used with Jinbei doing something slightly more notable.
Yeah, it's kind of a nothing moment overall. But, I mean, kind of so is Frankie's. Like, I guess he's working towards Zoro, but first, Chopper.
Indeed. We pop back to the live floor. Apparently this is where Big Mom versus etc. is going on. Chopper, who was previously in his baby Gramps form after his 30-minute monster point, that's worn off. He's back to his not that much bigger regular form. It's a little bit strange. This is worn off already, just because, and I could just be mistaken about this, but I could have sworn that, like, the, like, unable to move your body thing of the previous rendition of Monster Point was, like, hours or, like, a day or something. And Caesar hyped up the after effects of this upgraded version to be, like, something notable.
That's the part that gets me. Like, he's back within the time of Zoro's fight with King. I don't know exactly how long that took, but it was not very long. Certainly less than an hour.
Without a doubt. I mean, we've been in, like, 5 minutes to explosion mode for, like, what feels like an eternity now. So, I would, less than 30 minutes is my guess.
I mean, probably considerably under 30 minutes. Like,
Indeed.
Honestly, probably, like, 10?
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about how fast they were going, and, like, when they hit hard. None of these fights are long, except for Luffy's, I guess, but...
I mean, it made sense that Chopper would get, like... Everyone else, almost, so far, has gotten some sort of buff. And it doesn't really seem fair to Chopper that his buff would come with, like, a terrible repercussion to him. But that is the way that it was built up. So I'm just surprised that it's not happening that way. But maybe it's been longer. Maybe something else will come out of it. Who knows?
Maybe.
Chopper's not worried about it, though. He's just concerned about this whole double the damage later to Zoro thing. Because that later should be coming around pretty soon, according to them.
Yeah, and it seems like he has every reason to be worried.
Yeah, something weird is going on outside with Zoro right now. I don't know if you noticed, Jordan, but it's the Grim Reaper.
That could be any skeleton with a scythe. You don't know that's the Grim Reaper.
I mean, when you're right, you're right. I didn't ask the man for his credentials, but it sure does seem that way. So, what in all the heck is going on here?
I don't know. The only even possible thing that I can think of is this has some tie-in with his, like, Ashura triple-headed demon form thing. Like, he's been tapping into some unknown energy or some crap. Like, he sold his soul. I don't know.
I imagine he would have had to have survived as many scrapes as he has, but
Yes.
yeah, maybe. It could also be like a hallucination because of the like drone that's about to like go south in a hot second. Maybe it's just a metaphor of like him about to die. Or, I mean, a skeleton's a skeleton, but underneath his hood, it does just look like Brooke.
Yeah. Maybe this is his big goof time.
I don't know how Brooke got here. I don't know why he's got a scythe now. Maybe it's a combination of Brooke and a little bit of hallucinogenic drugs, but something strange is certainly happening here. Maybe the Grim Reaper just like heard Zoro call himself the King of Hell last time we saw him, and he took that personally.
Maybe. In One Piece, anything's possible.
It's a whole heckin' mess. I have never been more confused by like literally 2 panels in all of
It looks
One
like it's
Piece.
from a different manga.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, man.
absurd.
Zoro got himself lost and ended up in Bleach. That's what
Basically, yeah.
happened.
Get your Bankai out, dude.
Yeah, indeed.
But yeah, the whole his body won't move thing lends me to think, yeah, effects of a drug wearing off, or I don't know, hitting a different stage or something. It seems like they don't know too much about this drug.
Indeed. I can't imagine there were very many volunteers
No.
for human trials.
No, I wouldn't. Well, yeah. Anyway, weird, just weird stuff.
Yeah,
I love
I'm
it.
downright baffled. But
I'm excited to learn more, but what?
you got me good, Oda. You got me. I confess. Anyway, though, not all that far away from where Zoro is currently chilling, literally 1 wall's length away, pretty much. Frankie is running around looking for that Zoro guy, worried for him because he was the last one to see Zoro before the cane fight got serious. Not sure what Frankie was doing in between those 2 things, but now he's worried and he wants to find him. So I imagine he will find him and will be involved in this Grim Reaper scenario in some capacity.
Yeah, in what state he's gonna find him, I don't know.
Yeah, that's really the question of the hour. What on earth is going to happen to this poor green-headed lad?
Hopefully we find out soon.
Yeah, I'm dying to know. Then, where we spend like the largest chunk of this chapter so far, we're in the crawl space of the first floor, where we're seeing the aftermath of Izo's rescue of Usopp and Co. from the prior chapter, I believe. Didn't work out so great for the dudes that Izo was fighting against, but it also didn't work out especially great for Izo either. Seems he underestimated his foes a teeny tiny bit and took more damage than he would have liked. Oh no, though. Just at that moment, a certain organization, Cypher Pole, just kind of strolling on through, they comment, Izo, we really should deal with you. It's literally our job, but, I got other fish to fry right now. But Izo's not going to let him pass.
Yeah, my attitude towards these CP0 people is, I feel like it's just ever fluctuating. I like them, then I don't, then I do again, then I don't. Like, I want to know more, obviously, but like, when are they gonna show us almost anything? They were on fire and then they were fine. Like, good.
Indeed. And then they off-screened Drake and
Yeah.
one of the numbers. And now they're here hanging out with Izo.
A notably tough person.
Indeed. One of the scabbards and a former Whitebeard commander. No amateur, that's for sure.
As you said, damaged currently, but like should still be able to put up a fight. Looks like maybe one like stab or bullet wound.
Well, you gotta also remember, he got right fucked fighting against Kaido not that long ago.
Well, that's true.
He was
yeah.
patched up in some capacity, as all the scabbards were. But, like, that can't have been any more than just, like, basic first aid. We don't know who found him. So, it could be, like, something else. But
Yeah. Yeah.
certainly not working at anywhere close to 100%, this Izo fella.
No.
But Cypher Pole's doing fine. They seem to off-screen Drake with relative ease. So, good on them. Not looking great for Izo, but he's looking cool. He's about to throw down. Good on him.
How much of a fight is he really going to put up here? I don't know. I know Oda's not about to kill him off. That's not his style.
No.
So like what is he really going to throw down? Cuz he says just don't go yet. Like is he about to have a conversation with them? Well, no, there's the click of his gun.
Yeah. Just the dialogue alone makes it sound more cordial than, like, the gun click does.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to get a second translation of this, but I can't be bothered. I'm far too busy for all that.
Yeah, we'll find out more later for sure.
Indeed. Then we pop off to even lower in the castle. I like that we just kind of been, like, cruising lower and lower. Started pretty high up and getting lower as we go.
Yeah, they could have fun with this in the anime.
Indeed. We're pretty much as low as it gets, pretty much. Yamato has finally made it all the way down to the armory, where the comedically sized bombs are just waiting to be exploded by a variety of things, whether it be a fire spirit named Kanjuro, or just falling and exploding. Yamato goes ahead and freezes the explosives, which is great, but isn't going to stop the, like, ghost that is on fire that is already heading towards them. If it can pass through walls, I see no reason it can't phase through ice. Or just melt the ice, as it tries to do.
Well, I mean, Yamato manages to smack it, so...
Indeed. So that's weird. But,
Is that a hockey thing, you think?
Maybe. Maybe hockey lets you punch ghosts. I don't know. I'm not entirely clear on, like, what the nature of this creature is, really.
No.
It's like a weird combination of, like, Kanjuro's unwillingness to die before he pleased Orochi and, like, his ink ability. I don't know. Why can he fade through walls? I've got a lot of questions.
Why is it even here? Like, this thing has confused me since it showed up.
Indeed.
Like, what? What? Is that? Did he awaken in his last moments?
That could be. Maybe it's an awakening thing. It's a cool concept. I like how it looks and its, like, spiritual nature.
Yeah, it's threatening as all get out.
Indeed. It even kind of threw CP0, formerly immortal, for a loop a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it. But, like you said, Yamato manages to give it a little bonk right on its head. Then it grows a hand and swallows Yamato up with it. Not looking great for them.
No, it also says Lord Orochi.
Like, yeah, so it can speak now?
Yeah, I'm so perplexed.
A lot of weird, ghostly shit happening in good old 1038. The most spooky chapter number there ever was. Yeah. Then we go to where we spend the rest of this chapter and the namesake of the chapter, back to the performance floor to touch in with Kid and Law versus Big Mom, where we appear to have cut forward a little bit to Big Mom having just messed these boys up in a big way. Big Mom has basically won this fight, as far as we can tell when we pop in here initially.
Yeah, to the point that, like, their crew are calling out to them and pleading, begging for, like, a break.
Indeed. Unfortunately, Big Mom does not take breaks. She is a force of nature, and
She does the breaking.
indeed, that is how she do. Even John Bart is there, though. He made his way from the roof or wherever he was on down here to stand around some more. Good on
Hey,
you, John Bart.
yeah, when you've got a calling, you gotta answer it.
Indeed. Oh, John Bart, you're one of the biggest disappointments of my career.
Oh.
Yeah. But Big Mom stops them from interfering because they're like, oh, medical team, get in there, save them. Hera and Big Mom stop them with some lightning. They're all pretty much dead as far as I'm concerned. Big Mom's gonna pop on up, regroup with Kaido. It's gonna be a whole cool thing. They're gonna play patty cake, according to her. And off she goes. But oh no, Law is not dead. He's got some more croom left in him. Applies it to his sword, pretty much exactly as it did before, except this time the sword gets big.
Yeah,
Pulls
that's
off.
weird. But I did look into this, and it's actually probably closer to Chrome.
Be that as it may, I'm going to continue calling it croom.
I want you to know you're wrong, but I do like
Oh,
Chrome.
I fully acknowledge that I'm probably incorrect, but this is sillier to me. And this is the way I live my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, well, like you said, big sword. Like, it's cool that he's doing this, but also it's a little confusing considering, again, how built up this move specifically was on Law's part. Like, he basically said it was his last move because of the amount of energy that it took from him. And here he is on the ground, like nothing has changed. He's gotten beaten down even more. And he pulls off like an even more advanced version of it.
Yeah, the amount of energy that anything takes in One Piece is pretty inconsistent. I mean, in particular with Law, ever since the time skip, he's like kind of hyped up the weakness of his powers to be the amount of stamina consumption, right? It's like Super Saiyan 3 and Dragon Ball, effectively. It drains him real quick. But he just kind of keeps on trucking all the same, and this is seemingly no different.
Yeah, I like Law a lot. Like, there's no doubt about that. But this just, I don't know, this feels not, it doesn't feel justified to me.
Just the fact that he still had energy to do this despite claiming that he wouldn't have any.
Well, and also after getting beaten down even more by Big Mom, like, I don't know. I understand that, you know, that's the whole point of this chapter. Like, they're not giving up. They're gonna, you know, give it even more than their all, I guess, to even prevent Big Mom from going further. Like, sure, yes, great. I kind of knew this was going to happen, of course. But it just kind of happens.
Yeah. I can kind of understand if these two in particular are meant to be like the Luffy equivalents. Because if this were Luffy, this is kind of what he does, right? He always gets back up, and he's always got more energy to keep on fighting. But that's always been loosely justified with him being a rubber man, right? He's resilient. That's what he do.
Yeah.
These dudes are just kind of men.
Right. Their powers
So-
don't make them any, like, you know, beefier.
And Law's power specifically drains him in particular.
Yeah.
So it's a little iffy. But hey, Napoleon's having a good time. Look at that grin.
And so am I. Like, don't get me wrong. I actually very much enjoyed this chapter. I don't know if it's because we went a little bit without one or what, but it was delightful. Um, but it did, this part left me a little wanting. That's all.
Indeed.
Also, I don't know where Law exactly stabbed Big Mom. Like, it looks like it's through her cheek. But when he hits her with the like shock vial or vire, I think it's vire.
I believe it's pronounced Willy.
Yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want. Good old Shock Willie. When she like screams, his sword just is not there. It's not visible. I thought it should
you're
be.
right. You should be able to see it through her mouth.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Ghost sword?
Just adds more mystery to Law's power.
I guess it's just really dark in her mouth.
Yes.
It's a true black hole in there.
Has to be.
Indeed. But Big Mom has taken another big ol' shockwave attack from the inside, from Law. She seems downright spooked by it when she's about to get hit by it, so it's considerable.
It bypasses her defenses completely. Like, that's gotta be terrifying for someone who hasn't felt something in years.
Indeed. But, on the other hand, here comes a man who I do not understand how he manages to hurt Big Mom or Kaido ever. It's Kid. He's sucking in the I-beams and such. Then hits Big Mom with a great big punk cornadillo, described as a huge bull by some passerbys. Says some cool stuff while doing so. Kid grows on me a tiny bit more and more every time we see him, but I don't get how he is hurting her.
It's a big bowl.
Yeah, I mean, Kid says here, there's nothing in this world that's actually impervious to damage. So I guess the implication here is that if you just hit her hard enough, as I guess Kid is doing with his awakening, that they can be damaged, especially since Big Mom has been worn down by this time. But just doesn't feel right. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at least he has the naming thing down. Like, a punk sign of the bowl god? Like, yeah. Hell yeah.
Indeed. Pretty dope. Cool looking ability. Just curious.
Agreed. Yeah.
And then we get the final line of the chapter. I'd rather die than let you get to the roof. Which, I believe I saw this on the subreddit a little bit ago, pointed out to me there's a bit of a typo here that has actually been fixed now that I'm looking at it, or maybe the screenshot I was seeing was from the unofficial translation, I don't know. But in the screenshot I saw, it said, I'd rather die than THEN, let you get to the roof. So I don't know if I was just looking at the screenshot of the wrong thing, or if it has indeed been changed. But the implication being that they would rather die, and then once that has happened, Big Mom can go to the roof.
That's the way she'd like it.
Yeah, working out great for her if that's the case. But here we are. Going into this chapter, I was quite spooked, just based on how the naming convention of the battle chapters has been so far, that this is going to be the end chapter of Kid and Law versus Big Mom. Because, Sanji versus Queen, that ended that fight, and so on. But pleasantly surprised to see that this fight is going to continue for a little while longer. Still doesn't seem quite earned that these two will be able to take down a Yonko, but
I agree.
We take a step closer to that with each chapter that we see part of the fight in. So
yeah, this does really show how next level Luffy is, though. Like, 100%.
If we are to assume that Big Mom and Kaido are relative to one another,
I don't see any reason they wouldn't be.
Yeah, there's no indication otherwise. I mean, they say in a one-on-one Kaido wins, but like even if Kaido is stronger, it can't be from like a sizable gap, I would
No,
think.
it really can't be, and I don't know. I don't know how many times these two would have fought, but I'm sure Big Mom could win some. Like, whatever.
Indeed. But this fight gonna go on a little bit longer. This was mostly a setup chapter for like the remaining big things we got going on. The whole Raizo business, fire in the castle, whatever the heck Zoro has going on, CP0, and the bomb situation. Oh, and of course, Big Mom. Once all those things are resolved, all that's left is Kaido and Momo.
So we're basically done, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, we're nearing the end. Oh, and
Yeah.
whatever's going on with Orochi and Komurasaki. And
Yeah.
whatever the heck Denjiro has been doing for the last
Oh my
30
God,
chapters.
yeah.
I'm sure we'll check in with that guy eventually. But anything else you have to say on this chapter before we move on? Thoughts, concerns, dreams of the future?
Goodness. I don't think I had any concerns that I didn't bring up. Hopes for the future. I kind of hope that kid pulls out different animals with his magnetism power. Like he's just he has a fascination with zoology. I don't know.
Indeed. To bring out an entire menagerie of magnetized creatures. Throw all sorts of critters at Big Mom.
Bring out a sloth. I dare you.
He should make a like a mech version of Mother Caramel and then smash it in front of her, and that's how they beat her.
It's
Problems.
the psychological damage.
I mean that, and we know that if you break a picture of Mother Caramel, she becomes vulnerable for a little while. So there we go.
That's true.
I wrote
Good
it for
point.
you, Oda. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But no break next week. I am pleased. January is always a nightmare for one such as I, with all the Shonen Jump breaks and Oda breaks and such. But no more. Next chapter releases next Sunday, which is the 6th, I believe, February 6th. And with that out of the way, we'll jump on into the reread.
All right. We're going from cutting the roof off of one building to there being almost no buildings left on the island.
Indeed. They sure do smash them up a lot in this chunk.
So
Good
much
Lord.
destruction. So it starts off with the end to Zoro's fight, the actual end,
Indeed.
where there's just one thing that I'd really like to touch on, and that's how Zoro's finishing move, the Flying Dragon Blaze, sets Ryuma on fire. Why? I know the word blaze is in there, but like this is not our swordsman. Like this is not his thing usually.
Jordan. Obviously, he swung his sword so fast, the friction ignited the air around the wound, causing Ryuma to light on fire.
I see.
Duh. Zoro literally explained it. I can't believe you missed that page.
Oh dang, yeah. I do skip a page every now and then.
But yeah, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Everybody has fire powers now.
Yeah, it was a cool move, like a cool little scene and everything, but he could have just died. He didn't need to be set on fire. Unless that, well, no, that's not what just happens to zombies. That's canonically not what happens.
Yeah, I don't really know how Ryuma's like shadow popped out of him shortly thereafter.
No, he wasn't purified.
No. It's all a little bit curious, but, you know, it's fine. They could have drawn a few panels of him, like, being purified, and that would have made more sense, but we just kind of assume that happened, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, fire definitely
Is salty.
Yep. Okay,
Yes,
moving
curious.
on. We get some neat interactions between Chopper and Hogback. Sindri and Robin as well, to a lesser degree, I guess.
Yeah, Robin sure was there.
Yeah. This confrontation with Choppy and Hoggy was imminent. Like, really?
Choppy and Hoggy.
It's right there. But like this had to happen, but it is worth noting how fitting it is that Chopper, who struggles with being human but not really, blows up about these creations that Hogback calls human but aren't really.
Messed up fella, that Dr. Hogback. And you're right, it is very fitting that Chopper, the man who struggled for all his life between trying to be human and being called a monster, is the one who has to lecture this actual human, in a manner of speaking, on the value of humanity. But I like it a lot. It was really natural.
Yeah. I mean, Hogback is definitely subhuman at this point. Like, he is just pure scum. But he definitely gets what's coming to him. But before that happens, the, like, I don't know, kind of potent moment is followed by a kind of goofy but also relevant fight between Zombie Zoro and Sanji.
Indeed.
And then an equally silly combo move from Chopper and Robin, the Robbie Cho suplex, which they absolutely practiced. Like,
100%. They even had a special name for it and everything.
yeah.
I'm a little bummed out that we never actually got to see that move conclude because it looked sick.
Yeah, would have done some real damage.
But Hogback would have been definitely dead.
Without a doubt.
I still can't guarantee he's not after being swished by Oars, but an implied death is a little bit more child-friendly than being, having your head split open by a suplex from like 50
Someone
feet
later does comment like, "Oh, and Hogback was stepped on by Oars."
Indeed.
So that makes me want to believe it, but yeah, we don't know for sure.
I don't think he ever comes up again.
I hope not.
We know that Absalom walks away from this pretty much fine until he's killed later by Blackbeard and co. Perona, we know, gets away scot-free. Moria, of course, goes on to do other things, but Hogback, never heard from again. Got what was coming to him.
Darn tootin'. Sindri gets a few cool moments too. Like, shout out to Sindri. Minor character, but neat.
Indeed. Really served her role well. Drove Chopper's point home, and I like her for it.
Also, somehow, like, brings up the question of if a body has personality, soul. Like, I don't even remember how it was described, but like, there's an essence of the self in the body, even after X amount of time. Like,
yeah, and they ponder it for like a few panels, and then Robin brushes it aside. Like, I bet you could read books for all your life and probably still never fully understand. And they're like, all right, moving on.
yeah, I mean, she's right. Like, it's hard to disagree with that, but
Indeed.
Weird that it was brought up.
Curious things. One day, we'll really get to the bottom of what is the soul in One Piece. I bet your mid-mom could tell us. Jeez, that's kind of her thing.
Yeah. As long as she survives this encounter she's in, I'm sure that's her next bullet point on her to-do list.
I'll try to hit her up for an interview. See what can happen.
I'm sure she loves fan mail.
Yeah.
So chapter 469 deserves a special shout out for a few reasons.
Having the number 69 in it, yes.
That is number one. Number two, it is like, it's a great call to action. What with Oars rampaging with new orders to take down the Straw Hats. Two, it features every Straw Hat even though Nami is asleep, which I didn't double check if that was like happening before this. It probably did, but whatever. And 3, there's a panel on page 17 that shows like the outskirts of Thriller Bark, and there are a bunch of zombies from the start of the arc, like the man-faced lion and Cerberus, and they're just like, oh man, stuff's going crazy over there.
Yeah, sure would suck if I were over there.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that those
But I just got so much going on over here.
Yep. Them along with like the zombie narrating Usopp's fight and like all of these little weird things really, I don't know, it gives a different personality to this arc, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. Checking back in, even in brief, to Mooks from not all that long ago is a nice little touch. Special shout out to you, Cerberus. You have one Fox head.
Also, the cover story for this has probably been discussed at length recently. What with the moon people with their wings, but since we actually see them in this one, it would be shameful to not just touch on it real quick.
I guess so. I forget where this one ends, but this is the bit where Eneru's like going through and seeing like the murals of like the 3 different tribes of moon people who like lost their resources and had to migrate. I don't remember if we see in this chunk like, oh, the secret 4th one that people suspect, it being the Lunarians. But we do get confirmation here that the Skypeans, the Giants, and one other. Who's the 3rd group? Do you remember?
I thought the 3rd was the Lunarians, so whoops.
Well. I think the 3rd were the Birkins, the Sky Island that Eneru's from, and also the original name for the moon tribe or whatever.
Yeah.
People assume that they theorize that in one of the cover panels you can see like a 4th one just kind of halfway on panel, and that's the Lunarians people suspect. And maybe that's true. It'd be kind of weird if a tribe that's like got moon right in the gosh darn name was somehow not related to the existing tribe on the moon or from the moon. But just one of those things that we're gonna have to flesh out more later, if we even do. I mean, King is down for the moment as far as we're concerned.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, how are we gonna get that flashback at this point? I don't know if it's happening. If King is gonna, recover and then have a cover story of his own, but weird stuff.
They hyped up the Lunarians as being like plot relevant, with like, oh, they were wiped out by the world government for knowing too much or what have you. And then we didn't get very much expansion on that when we were still dealing with King. He's got to come back in some capacity. Or like Marco seems to know something about it from what he heard from Whitebeard. So maybe we'll get some from him. But sure would have felt nice if we had gotten it from,
the source.
The horse's mouth, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say about Eneru going forward.
You did real good.
If I ever bring up Eneru again, please be nice to me about it.
But then we get to kind of the meat of this chunk, which is the Oars versus Straw Hats fight. It's a fun one, to say the least.
This is one, I mean, this arc as a whole is like, as far as most people's tier lists are concerned, one of the middling arcs. But I just don't see how you can watch all these sick-ass combo attacks that the Straw Hats do against Oars here and say that it's middling with a straight face. Because this is some cool stuff. Did they not see the Jenga cannon, for instance?
Yeah, Jenga Cannon was very good. The Frankie Skywalk up to the Frapper punch.
Yeah, the Frapper gong. There's some dope stuff in here, is all I'm saying, and this doesn't get the recognition it deserves.
I think you're right. Like, it almost sounds like you're joking, but I fully enjoyed it. It was a little on the silly side, sure, but this whole arc has been and continues to be. Like,
I mean, it's on the silly side, sure, but at no point was I like not spooked
oh gosh, no.
for these guys. I mean, Oars is enormous, and the first thing he does is like smash up Sanji in a big way. He gets back up because that's what Sanji does. He's a tanky boy, but
Well, he continues to destroy all of them. Like,
by the end of this chunk, like 5 of them are down.
yeah, it's
Pretty sure.
a bad time. And,
Indeed.
like, Oars is not feeling it, even, really. Like, well, obviously not feeling it, but, like...
On account of the whole zombie thing.
Yes. I think, I mean, Chopper had the right idea when he got them all to start focusing the same place. Like, that was the smartest thing any of them did. I agree that they had, like, some really cool moves, and it was quick thinking and all this stuff, but, like, that's the biggest brain move.
And the first thing they do is like, they think, well, Frankie brings it up, like, oh, all we got to do is stall, pretty much, wait out the clock, and Luffy will take out Moria, and that'll be that. But Zoro, he's not having any of that. He's like, I'm not waiting for Luffy. He's, a dope, a little bit. I mean, not to be offensive to Luffy, of course, says Zoro, but all these guys here have abilities that, trick people, and that's what Luffy does. He gets tricked. So they just can't afford to rely solely on him, is the point.
Yeah.
And they do pretty well for themselves.
Yeah.
Up until the end.
Well, yeah, I think it's actually very fitting, especially for Zoro, who just got his third sword back and must have been just itching to try it out and get back into the groove of things. And yeah, they were doing pretty darn well up until like Kuma showed up and lit a fire under Moria's butt, which prompted him to control Oars like a giant flesh mech.
Yeah. They were doing all right up until then, but as soon as Oars got a brain and the ability to stretch like a crazy person, things sure did go south.
Yeah. It almost just felt like theatrics on Moria's part, because, I mean, he showed that he could take out Robin, like, with no difficulty whatsoever. So I assume he would have similar ease with most of the crew at this point. So, like, he just wants Oars to feel good.
All Moria really has to do to take them all out is have them start fighting, send his Doppelman over behind one of them, shadow cut, rinse, repeat 5 times, or however many Straw Hats are left by then. But he's having a good time. He wants to test out his zombie. He's having fun watching him just thrash these guys have been demolishing his building for some time. And, I can't blame him.
Yeah.
If I were a crazy person, perhaps I would behave like this too.
Oh, it's perfectly in character, no doubt.
Indeed. It's on account of his onion shape.
Yes, the medium-sized onion man.
Correct.
So I brought up Kuma, who is a pretty weird character.
Yeah. He wears a hat. It's got ears on it. It's really the only thing about him that makes him look like a bear, but that zombie, like, just outright says he looks like a bear when he first sees him.
Yeah, well, and he's like, you're not far off.
Yeah. I mean, he does also have paws, but they don't know that.
No.
And bears aren't the only thing that have paws. Lots of things have paws. Dogs, cats, me, all sorts of creatures.
That's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, he does some weird stuff. Sends some zombies and Perona packing to their respective vacation homes, from the sounds of things.
I don't know if he asked the zombies, but they're going to end up where they need to go anyway.
Indeed. They'll come back 2 years later, beefy as heck.
Heck yeah, man. I'm ready for that arc.
Indeed. Now, I don't know why Kuma's interested, because we know that he's not really working for the government, willingly.
Yeah, he's one of them revolutionaries.
Indeed. I'm more curious about, like, his more immediate past, because we know he was, like, a high-ranking member of the Revolutionary Army, right? And now he's working for the world government as a Shichibukai. And a zombie here says that when he was a pirate, specifically, he committed countless atrocities as, like, the tyrant he was known. What's all that about? What bad boy things did our poor small bear boy do?
Yeah, that's part of why I say he's just such a weird character. Because, like,
Indeed.
he's on the Straw Hat's side, even though it's very unclear.
In a weird way, yes.
Like, he proves that time and time again down the line. But, like, yeah, at this point, what did he do? What?
Yeah, it's all certainly curious. His motives for joining up with the government aren't clear. Not even the Revolutionary Army seems to know anything about it. He also, like, used to be a king of, like, an island with Bonnie, like, as queen or something.
What?
Did you forget about that? On Reverie, right? Jewelry Bonnie has, like, aged herself up and has either disguised herself as the queen, or, like, perhaps actually was the queen and, like, aged herself down to her current, like, the form we know her as. And she says that, like, oh, I gotta rescue Kuma, like, the king of the kingdom I'm, like, from. So that's all very strange. This man's got allegiances in everybody's pocket.
Yeah.
And it's downright wacky.
Well, isn't he also currently, like, basically lobotomized?
Indeed. We are told that, like, all of Kuma is gone. He's just, like, just a robot now, pretty much. And he's just, like, being used as a plaything by the
Celestial
Dragons.
Yeah.
They literally have, like, a roster where they rent him out and ride him around and stab him in the back with swords and stuff. It's all pretty terrible.
It's so
and
messed
confusing. It's a whole thing. This Paul Pad man.
But... Yeah, I like him a lot as a character. He carries a Bible around. That's weird too.
Yeah, it sure is. Downright baffling, this man.
Yeah, baffling and sad. But Luffy is learning the secret of Moria's power and eating all sorts of shadows.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Dope that they figured that out. It was a little bit strange at the beginning that they were like, oh, we were, like, trying to find our shadows, and then decided we found all these other shadows that weren't ours. We're like, well, better to hold on to these than let them continue to be used by these ghouls. And, like, I get it. Like, they did turn out to be useful, but you could have also just let the shadows go back to their homes, and that would have been more morally correct.
Yeah, certainly more morally correct. But, like...
not as useful, certainly. And I can't blame them for, like, holding on to, like, an ace in the hole. They were going to release the shadow eventually once they beat Moria and such.
Well, yeah, once it's infused with someone, they only have a limited amount of time anyway, so, like...
Right.
Yeah,
but that's just not what they said, is all.
Yeah. It's delaying the good that they have done.
Indeed.
Very strange. But, like, yeah, that's all I've got on this chunk. If you have anything, say it now. Otherwise, we move on to the bits.
The only other thing that I did not cover as we went is to discuss Lola in brief. Uh, Lola's pretty cool, even as a zombie. I liked her swooping in to help her friend, and her apparently not being duped by Nami claiming that she was a man.
Yeah, that was all very good.
Good on you. But back in the day, I found it strange that Lola's shadow, of all people, would go into a general zombie. But knowing now that she's a daughter of Big Mom, that kind of made sense. I
Yeah.
mean, Lola doesn't seem all that strong, but reputation, that matters a lot in the world of One Piece. I'd be curious to see what Lola's bounty would have been.
Oh, yeah. That would be something neat to know.
She seems like a relatively good person, so I don't think she was committing like as many atrocities as Kuma has been built up, for instance. But just being a daughter of Big Mom probably warrants you a fairly hefty one just from branding alone, pretty much.
Oh, for sure.
But that was the only other point I had. So let's talk about some ha-has and such.
Delightful. I only wrote down 2 this time. I guess I wasn't thinking about it. So, there you have it.
Okie doke. My first one actually involves Lola. Wouldn't you know it?
Oh.
I don't know how funny it was meant to be, and maybe it wasn't funny as much as like cathartic to a certain extent, but I sure did appreciate Lola getting back at Absalom a little bit for his terrible, terrible misdeeds, giving him a taste of his own medicine by going after him while he was unconscious.
Yeah, it serves him right, because I hate that guy.
Indeed. If you take nothing else away from this podcast episode and every other one, dear listener, it's fuck Absalom. 41 episodes of doing this can be summed up in that statement alone.
Yeah. Poor guy. Except not really.
I feel no pity for him.
Yeah. An actual poor guy is Sanji, because Oars called him and his wanted poster identical.
Indeed. It's like I said, man, whether or not people recognize Sanji from his wanted poster or not solely depends on if it's good or bad for Sanji in that moment.
And the fact that it's Luffy's brain in there makes it all the better.
Yeah, that just checks out. Pretty sure when his wanted poster first showed up, Luffy is like, "What are you complaining about? It looks just like you."
Yep. Love that kid.
That pretty much checks out. When the crew decides to knock around Big Man Oars, each of them get a cool little thing to say, right? Each of the 6 of them that are participating in this fight at the time. But Usopp's is just, I'm so scared.
All of them were like really fitting for the character. Like just perfect one-liners. And even I'm so scared is a perfect one-liner. It was fantastic.
I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. When they like flip Oars and he's stuck with his horns in the ground, there's like a portrait. I don't know if this is exactly funny. I thought it was kind of funny. Not that they like wail on him. That's comedic in some ways, but just that there's 6 of the most menacing portraits I have ever seen in One Piece, and like a lot of them are doing or saying intimidating things, but then Robin is just staring, and that's it. No words, no thought bubble, no nothing. Just a dead stare, and it's the scariest of the bunch.
Yeah, indeed. In a way, that's scariest of all.
Yeah.
I'd be frightened. There's, of course, the classic Pirate Docking 6, Big Emperor. Even Oars, one of them to do it. But no. Robin felt it would be embarrassing, so can't do it.
Good on you, Robin.
But a little joke within the joke there is Frankie got Sanji and Zoro to be the leads, right? Sanji was fine. His was just on the shoulder, but he misstepped on Zoro a little bit and got one of his big smelly feet poking Zoro right in the face, and I can't imagine that was pleasant for our algae man.
No, I don't think that he cleans his feet all that often.
Indeed. I mean, he runs around barefoot literally always.
Yup.
So,
Yeah.
boy. I guess he doesn't have to worry about, like, a sock situation, but...
That's true. There's nothing trapping the smell, at least.
Indeed.
Right before Nami joins in the fight with Oars, she is running towards the ship to, like... I don't actually remember why. She's checking up on the treasure or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But while she's backtracking, she runs into Frankie's bridge and comments on how nice and narrow it is. And then immediately after that, she like hears oars flipping in the background or something, and she just completely pretends not to notice it and moves on.
Indeed. She had the most shocked reaction, justifiable,
Yes,
of course,
yes.
and then just continued about her business, immediately repressing what she had just seen.
Yeah, maybe the most in-character thing in the entire chunk.
Indeed. Fortunately for both you and I, it turns out you were both a liar and a thief, because that was 3 for you, and also that was my last one.
Oh, phew.
So, you goofed up in a big way, sir.
I added the menacing portraits one in ad hoc, so oops.
You've really screwed me on this.
Well,
but that's all I had.
Yeah, it's delightful. We're getting close to the conclusion, so
good old Thriller Bark,
Yeah.
all reliable. But like I said before, totally prepared as I was, no break next week. Next chapter releases upcoming Sunday, February 6th. Good on us. Feel free to send in your thoughts on this chapter via email to inheritedwillpodcasts@gmail.com, on Twitter to @inherited_will, or simply in a comment on the YouTube video, etc. As always, thanks for listening.
bye-bye.